Hey there, Drawyah here, and welcome to Scotland. Yes, today I find myself in Oban, which is in the Argyll and Bute, part of the Western Highlands of Scotland, and today I have myself a flight. So we're flying out with Hebridean Air Services. Since recording this video, I have now realised that my pronunciation for most of this is completely off. The airline is Hebridean Air Services, and I fly to the islands of Islay and Colonsay. Now, if only I did my research before taking off. Yeah, Scottish Gaelic, never been my strong point. Sorry about that. We are a local island hopping carrier as part of the Air Task Group, and what they do is they serve the different islands around the West Highland area, kind of giving them a connection, flight, passenger service, so kind of getting people around. It's a public service trip, and well, I only found out about this airline because of a Steve Marsh video, who himself found out from Tom Scott, and so kind of like passed the baton on. Yeah, I saw the video, fell in love, and it was like an impulse buy. I had to book that ticket, I had to come to Scotland. So yes, they found themselves in Oban Airport, and yeah, it should be a very exciting trip indeed. Now in terms of the airline itself, Hebridean, they serve a couple of destinations around. They serve Colonsay, Islay and Tiree, as well as Oban here, their base. It should be quite exciting. They have a single aircraft in their fleet. It's a bright yellow Britten-Norman Islander aircraft, Hotel Echo Bravo Sierra GEHEBs, and like I said, at the moment it's their only aircraft in the fleet, and it serves all the islands around. So we'll pop into the airport, check ourselves in, and get ourselves ready for our flight today. So I've just checked into my flight, and I've actually been informed that I'm the only passenger on the first leg of the trip. It's the longest leg from here in Oban to Islay, so it's about 40-45 minutes of flying. And well, it's just me and the pilot on board, so that's going to be a lot of fun. That I'm very excited to see where it kind of ends up. It's going to be a good trip. The weather absolutely fantastic today. There is a fog coming in from the west at the moment, so coming in over the Atlantic, but that won't hit till tonight. Therefore giving us a relatively clear path out for our trip today. So far so good. This should be a very good trip. There's a Cessna right now, starts its engine, on its way to head out. Boarding, as you can imagine, was a very swift process. The pilot led me up to the bright yellow Hebridean Air Services aircraft, where he gave a short safety demo going through the life jacket and escape process when on the ground and in the water. As there were only two of us on board, we sat at opposing ends of the aircraft for the sole sake of weight balance. Once on the aircraft, it was then just a case of starting the engines up, backtracking down runway 19 and taking off from there. I'll let you enjoy our takeoff run with the Lycoming 0540 engine buzzing in the background.
Strapped in?
Yep, strapped in. first flight took us from the harbour town of Oban, or at least just north of there at Connel, to the island of Islay. We fly over the harbour itself, looking down at where I'd stood and took a sailboat tour only an hour ago. We get a fantastic view of Ben-Nor, one of the paps of Drawyah, before making an approach over the Atlantic and curving back onto runway 13 at Islay. Amenities on this aircraft. One thing that can be done on the BN Islander is to fold down the empty row of seats in front, which offers a little more legroom and visibility within the cabin. The seatback pocket also includes a safety card, a sick bag for when light aircraft flying is not quite your thing, and a pair of complimentary earbuds to dampen down some of that prop noise you hear. On some seats I did also note an in-flight magazine, but on this occasion I did not have access to that. We only stopped at Islay for a few short minutes, where one other passenger joined us for the second leg to Colonsay. This short 10-minute hop took us low over the coastlines of both Islay and Colonsay before making an approach over runway 28, which took us directly over the island for a low look at life down below. The weather for us was absolutely fantastic, offering panoramic views of the Western Highlands and Outer Hebrides with fantastic blue waters that I'd love to return to one day to swim in. So we've arrived at Colonsay, our second stop of this little trip, and we've given about 5 minutes kind of step out, stretch our legs, and have a quick look around the island. Not much here, not much at all. We've got, well, lots of hills, a couple of prop aircraft for locals, and lots and lots and lots of sheep. So I believe something like 300, 400 to 1 sheep to people live in this island. It's definitely peaceful. Not a lot going on here, but otherwise it's been a great flight so far. This aircraft really, plain expectation, it is fantastic. So we've got one more leg. This will be the second longest leg of the trip. So we did the long one from Oban to Islay, that was about 45 minutes. Islay to Colonsay, that's about 10 minutes. Then back to back to Oban, which is about another 30-35 minutes. So yeah, we had a schedule about 20-30 minutes early, which was pretty good. We'll be off soon, but so far thoroughly enjoyed this trip. After departure from Colonsay, we were taken on an absolutely fantastic route over Uragaig and Kiloran Bay. This was heading up alongside the cliff wall, only a few thousand feet or so below. This completely blew any expectation I had for this flight, and by far one of the most breathtaking things I've ever done. This leg back to Oban took us to the north side of Ballymore with a view of Guylan before curving over Ardmuknish Bay and landing back at Oban runway 19, where we'd started just an hour and a half ago. Being a public service operator, Hebridean Air Services generally prioritise locals for seats on their plane. These are West Highland Islanders that need to move in and around the islands or return back to the mainland. For tourists like myself, however, they do offer two different packages that may be of interest. They do a scenic flight which takes you on a 30-minute tour of the local area, pointing out several local landmarks, and a sightseer flight, which is any spare seats on the two regularly scheduled flights they do and can take up to an hour and a half. But these can only be done subject to availability within 5 days of the flight itself, making it more of a last minute option when you're there. Given the small size of the aircraft too, this is very much subject to weather. I also recommend booking over the phone. The lady I spoke to was very catering and helped to make sure that everything would match up so that I could be in Oban without any issue. Turns out accommodation availability in Oban is not always there at the start of a domestic summer holiday. Thank you very much, that was superb.
No worries, glad you enjoyed. Take care.
Take care.
Enjoy the rest of your trip.
And there we have it, once again back at Oban. In terms of flight time today, that was about an hour and 15 minutes, so not a bad bit of timing there. And well, let me show you the scenery, absolutely phenomenal out here in Oban. So back at the airport now. The aircraft, I believe, has one more kind of round trip later on today just for the Islanders, and as you can press now being refueled. Otherwise it has truly been a fantastic little flight this. So yeah, in my case I'm now going to head back to Oban and then off to Glasgow rather than have to catch a sleeper train. But yes, that brings us to the end of today's video. So massive thank you to those here at Oban Airport. Thank you also to the Hebridean Air Services team. All fantastic, all great to talk to. I'm definitely going to be back for this one again at some point in the future. Otherwise, yeah, take care. See you soon.